Hello, wonderful listeners, and welcome back to Unibus eTalk. I'm your host, Ririn, and today we have an exciting episode lined up for you. Yesterday, we embarked on a journey of creativity and enlightenment at an international art workshop led by none other than a distinguished art professor from Flinders University. Well, this workshop wasn't just about the brushes and colors. It was a transformative experience that challenged our perceptions and inspired us to think differently about the world around us. We explore how art can shape the mind and actions of learners, and also we dare to take the innovative challenge of turning discarded plastic into a masterpiece. Well, please join me in welcoming our esteemed guest, Professor Dr. Amy Hamilton, whose expertise in the realm of art illuminated minds and ignited passions around the globe. Professor, thank you for gracing us with your presence today.
Terima kasih.
Okay, very nice of Indonesian language. Sama-sama, Professor.
I don't know very much.
Okay, well, it's already very nice to hear you can speak Bahasa. Okay, so indeed, Professor, your insight has sparked a flame of inspiration of us as we delve deeper in today's discussion. Let's explore how the art of education can empower future educators and learners alike. And let's not forget the innovative ways that we can purpose the materials, turning trash into treasures that is not only captivate the eye but also nourish the soul. Well, the listeners, fasten your seatbelts and open your minds because today the episode promises to be a journey of discovery and enlightenment. So let's dive in. Okay, could you please start by sharing a little bit about yourself and the path journey in your work, art, and academy?
Thank you. Terima kasih.
Sama-sama, Prof.
So I was born in Scotland. My mother was actually American and my father was South African. Mum used to draw occasionally, and maybe I noticed that and started drawing myself. But my first realization about art being important to me was in primary school. My very first teacher, Miss Horsborough.
Okay.
I remember her. And she let me go to a different part of the classroom to draw and paint and make my artwork. And she told me I was good. From then on, I realized, I could do something good.
Like, really? I really have this kind of, I'm good painter at the time, right?
Yeah. But I also realized I wanted to be a teacher just like
at the same time.
Yeah. And so right from beginning of primary school years, I wanted to be a teacher.
Okay. So as we know that you're a lecturer from College of Education, Psychology and Social Work from Flinders University, Professor. So what inspired you to pursue a career in art, and how did your path lead you to become a professor at Flinders University?
By accident.
By accident? How is it?
Well, when I went to Teachers College, my parents said, don't do art, you won't get a job. My advisors at the Teachers College said, don't do art, you won't get a job. And so I chose English and history, and I didn't enjoy it. And I just happened to bump into an advisor who said, you look like you might enjoy art. Why don't you go up to the art department?
Yeah.
So I dropped out of English, took up art, and went on from there. And I just wanted to be a teacher.
But actually, it's a good decision because you can be a lecturer in English by art.
Yeah, but you can teach anything.
Yes, sure. So,
and then I thought I wanted to be a secondary art teacher in high school. But when I went out to schools, I didn't really like the way people taught.
Which people do you mean?
The other teachers.
The other teachers.
So they weren't teaching the way I thought was important. I wanted to do things like make games and create art things, and they were all, you listen to me and you write down what I said. So
it takes so serious, right?
Yeah. So I worked in a gallery instead. And then when I had my children, I started going and interfering in their school, their local school just down the road, and I wanted to know, where is all the art? Why are they not doing art lessons? So I started teaching at the school. And in Australia, even if you're trained in secondary, you can still teach in primary. So I became a primary school teacher, teaching only art.
Okay.
And I would go through the whole school. I'd start with the youngest children and do art, and then through each class. So every week they got some art lessons.
Oh, okay. So how long have you been teaching art in Flinders University?
About 20 years.
20 years. Oh my God, it's very a long time.
And it's about 40 years since I went out teaching.
It's 40 years.
Since I was a student.
Oh my God, it's a very great of you, Professor.
But I just realised that it needed people to go out there and be strong and promote the arts. Because a lot of teachers think they can't do it because they don't know themselves.
Yes.
So it's so important that they get the opportunity to feel what it feels like
Yeah.
to make some art.
Sure. So are you just teaching in an Australia, or maybe you are teaching in another country, perhaps?
Well, now I teach in China.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, so you can speak Chinese, of course.
Only a little bit.
Can you show me a little bit?
谢谢。
谢谢，没关系。
你好。
你好，你好吗？
Yeah, 你好吗?
Yeah.
And 啤酒.
啤酒, oh my God. Do you know what is the meaning of the 啤酒?
Beer.
Beer. Okay.
Because I go with my husband, Professor Ben, and he likes Chinese beer.
Oh,
So,
中国啤酒.
Yeah.
Okay, very nice. So the next one is, could you please tell us about your areas of expertise within the field of art? Just like, what are some of the key terms of the topic that you are focusing on your research or teaching?
Okay. So my focus is on preparing teachers to teach the arts. So I think about how best to prepare teachers.
Yeah.
And in fact, in Australia, there are 5 art forms in the Australian curriculum. There's visual arts, drama, dance, music, and media arts.
Okay.
So in my topics that I'm coordinator of, they have to have a bit of experience in each of those 5 areas.
Okay.
And I think it's really important that they do experience doing it, not just reading about it or writing about it, but actually practicing. So they have to dance, they have to sing, they have to act, as well as make
Okay.
artworks.
Okay, so throughout your career, what have been some of the most memorable moments of a project that have shaped your perspective on power of art?
Well, obviously my doctorate was because what I did was keep notebooks, write about my life and art and how it fitted.
Yeah.
And then I made an artwork. And so the thesis was half artwork and half exegesis.
Okay.
So the picture is a larger-than-life picture of me made of the writing of my autoethnography.
Actually, I'm a little bit curious to see your art right now.
Oh, yes. It's on my computer.
Okay.
But it's layers upon layers. So the first layer were things I didn't want people to see. And they were about things in my past, things with my father, my sister, my background. And then the next layer was even more crazy layer. like when I have had difficulties. But that is all in there and it's a bit abstract. And then on top of that, finally, is the more realistic me, but it's still all words. And some of that covers the things that I don't want people to see, but they're part of me.
Privacy.
Private, yeah. And I find that it's really useful, actually, with my students. And they ask about that, and I send them down to look, and they go, oh, I understand. Because it's really powerful. And I warn them that self-reflection can be dangerous, because as I was doing this, it took me a few years. As I was doing this, I was reflecting on my life and where I was, and I realized I didn't want to be married to my husband.
So your husband is also an artist, right?
No, this is my ex-husband.
Oh,
And
really?
after 30 years, because I was writing and reflecting, I realized, no, I don't want to be here, and I left. And I have another husband.
Oh, but right now he's an artist.
No, he's a sociologist.
Sociologist.
And his research is about veterans and veteran suicide, and very important, very serious.
Okay, send my regards to him.
Then, yes.
Okay. So how do you approach the intersection of arts and education in your work? And like, what are some of the strategies or methodologies you employ to engage the students to foster the creativity in the classroom?
Well, quite often my assessment tasks involve some sort of art form. So in that topic I mentioned earlier, they have to actually perform for 10 minutes on a stage with an audience of real school children, and they have to have a theme, and they have to use all of the art form. And then they have to take children and do an art lesson with them. And to start with, they hate me. Amy, I can't do this. I can't do this. And then once they do it, they realize, oh wow, that was so powerful. They learned so much by preparing for it.
Yeah.
And then they get so much joy from doing it for students, and the students love it. So that's one of the things I do, make my students actually practice the arts, so they understand what it feels like.
Okay, so in light of yesterday's workshop, could you share your thoughts on the importance of incorporating sustainability and environmental awareness into the artistic practice and educational initiative? Could you please?
Well, I think the most important thing for me from my presentation or the workshop is that it's the future students, the future children, these little kids.
Sure.
They are our future. They're the ones who are going to be the custodians of the planet. We need to start early with them. So making them realize about and critical pedagogy of place, I mentioned. Being aware, starting with your home and the area around it, understanding what's happening there, using art to observe, to draw things and to create things, and thinking about how to preserve that environment, then the bigger picture, then the world. And the art is a good way to do that, by observing and then by thinking, how can I influence other people by making an artwork, which is what we were doing yesterday. So thinking about the power of art to influence people to act, to take action.
So talking about your statement regarding your previous statement, say that your parents were actually say that you are not going to get a job by doing an art. So, I mean, how will you tell the parents outside that, okay, art is also earning money, like art is also important for the students or the children?
More importantly than the earning money, I think. You can get a job teaching art, but you can teach all the other subject areas through the art. I work with my colleagues teaching maths through art, teaching history through art, by looking at artworks and understanding history before cameras. We can look at artworks and understand what was happening at that time.
So it's place. Just not an art itself.
It's not about making pretty pictures.
Really?
It's observing, and we didn't have time to do that yesterday. I wanted to do that, but we ran out of time. Take an artwork and analyze it. I've actually written a textbook with two other art people, and we're in the 4th edition, I think. And in there I have a table of questions to ask, to unpack what is the artwork about, because one of the most important things is what was the artist's intention. What did the artist want to happen? What did the artist want the viewer to see, to understand, to feel, maybe to feel. And art is so powerful to make people feel and understand and maybe act.
Like what I just said, that actually the art is just not only to captivate the eye, but also nourish the soul.
And to think.
Like what is actually the meaning of this kind of art.
But also, I was going to mention earlier, the other way I use art is helping people to express things that they couldn't normally say. So I go up to Darwin, which is at the top of Australia, Adelaide is at the bottom, and I do workshops with soldiers. So these are boys, mostly male, from the army, some female, and they all have either mental illness or physical disability, and they come and do a whole workshop with me, and I teach them first of all drawing skills for a little while so they can actually draw, and then we do a whole lot of activities, and then I ask them to make an artwork. And one of the most powerful ones that happen, to start with, they're very resistant. They're looking at me, go, why are we here? Why are we doing this? I don't want to do this. And by the end, they get it. One person in particular, he sat and stared at his paper for quite a while, and then he had to leave and talk to the psychologist outside. And then he came back, and he drew a picture of his head with the top chopped off, with instead of brain, there were Rubik's cubes, unsolved Rubik's cubes, and his mouth was stitched shut.
Yeah.
And he said, I couldn't say that. I couldn't say that in words, but I managed to express it in a picture. And he felt really good that he could do that and wanted to share it with his family so they would understand how he felt.
Okay.
So how important is that?
I see.
Another, I wanted to mention this too, because when my sister died, and I was very close to her, and I was with her in the hospital when she died, and I still feel upset thinking about it. But
so sorry about that.
I didn't know what to do. I couldn't take a picture, that would be wrong. I sat down with her and I drew her.
Yeah.
And so I have this drawing of her dead.
That's on the
She's
memories
alive
of
to
you.
me. Yeah, very important.
It's so nice. It's so nice to have the kind of art feeling.
Yeah. Even after all these years.
I'm so sorry for you.
No, but it's better for me. And afterwards, when I had nightmares, I would have a dream that she was at my window. Help me! Help me! And I know it's because I felt like I couldn't help her. Because I couldn't. She had cancer.
Do you have a tissue?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
But I could draw that. And after I drew it, I didn't have those nightmares anymore. I had it on paper. I could see the picture. I didn't have it in my head. It's another powerful way to use art for self-understanding and self-healing.
Okay. It's
Sorry,
so touching. It's so touching for me, actually. Okay, so what advice would you give to aspiring artists and educators who are passionate about making a positive impact through their work?
Well, I would say be a teacher. It's very important because
very important.
Teachers influence the students, influence the students in the future.
Yeah.
And do it.
Do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Okay.
Yeah. Because if you don't, you'll be frustrated, and you don't have to sell. That's not important. It might be lucky. You might get famous, but not very many artists do.
Yeah.
It's more important to just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, lastly, what are your hopes for the future of art of education and in shaping a more sustainable and culturally enriched society?
Well, I'm hoping that governments are gradually realizing that the arts are important, and that thinking in education, not only is it good for communication and so on, but also thinking of those students who are not academically very good, who maybe are not good at writing or not good at speaking.
Yes.
And they can draw their ideas. And so teachers need to be aware of that.
Sure.
Or else that kid is always missing out. It's always, down here. So teachers have to be aware of being
because there's
multidisciplinary.
Yeah, there are so many kinds of students. Yeah, no student are all can speak or write, but they can just share the soul and the feeling by doing the art.
They might have to dance. They might be physical. They might have to show their feelings through movement.
Yeah, dancing is also art.
Yeah.
Doing drama is also art. Yeah.
And in Australia, media, using technology to be creative is also art. So some people making animations and making their own movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very nice. Okay. So thank you very much, Professor. So, okay, with that insightful discussion, we come to the close on today's episode. I want to extend a heartfelt and thank you for Professor Dr. Ami Hamilton, so for gracing us with her wisdom and expertise. Thank you so much, Prof. Your passion of art and education shines through, and your dedication to fostering creativity and environmental consciousness is truly inspiring. As we reflect on our conversation today, let's remember that the power of art holds not only to beautify our words, but also to challenge the perceptions, ignite the imaginations, and drive positive change. Whether it is through a stroke of paintbrush or also molding the recycled materials, each act of creativity has the potential to leave lasting impact. To all the listeners, I hope today's episode has sparked a new idea, stirs your curiosity, and left you feeling inspired to embrace the transformative power in our life. So remember, creativity knows no bounds, and each one of us has the ability to make the difference. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.